Chapter 20. The Power of Small Things. One day, a young woman came up to me during the homeless meal and handed me a card. It was a handwritten thank you note for all we have done for her and her boyfriend. She'd been coming to our meals for almost 2 years. Her street name is Sunshine. I had to kick her out once for going off on another lady during Gonzaga's Thursday night meal when she almost got into a brawl. She came back the next week apologizing for her mouth and her behavior. She'd been cool since. A lot of these people need more than a second chance. "I just can't thank you enough for all you've done for me," she gushed. "What do you mean?" I responded, since I couldn't really remember doing anything particularly grand for her. "Last winter, me and my boyfriend got into our own apartment for the first time in a long time, and you gave us those sheets of plastic," she answered in a tone trying to helpfully remind me how I had been such a crucial part of her year. We keep rolls of painter's plastic on hand so that whenever it rains, guys and ladies camping out can cut off a good 10 or 12-foot section and cover their camp spot or lay it on the ground to keep them dry. Sunshine and her boyfriend were given several yards of plastic last winter after they had moved into their apartment. "We used that plastic to cover our windows, and our heat bill dropped from $145 a month to $80 a month, she excitedly said, adding with a sigh of relief, "That was the difference between us being able to eat or pay the phone bill or sometimes getting a bus pass each month. It literally saved us. We were so broke before that. We fell behind in rent, and thank God the landlord was kind to us and let us stay anyway. With that extra amount, we could get caught up and back up on our feet." "I thought your housing was subsidized," I responded. "Doesn't that kind of guaranteed that you're able to stay?" "Not really. You see, I have to support my 3 kids, and my boyfriend has 1 child to support with his check." I had never seen them with children, so I asked, "Where are your kids?" "They're in the foster care system. 1 is with my mom. Most of our government paychecks have child support taken out, so there really isn't near as much to live on for us," she explained. "I don't mind, though. I'm glad. I can help them. Without your meals every Sunday and Gonzaga's every Thursday night, along with the dog food for our pet you give us each week, we wouldn't have made it." Leaning in close, she added, "You know, I used to be a hardcore meth addict and heroin user. I've been clean for almost 11 years now. Without you guys helping us, I know that I would have gone back to using again because I wouldn't have been able to take the stress anymore. I almost didn't make it as it was. But I did. Thank you so much." She then told me how much she'd been praying to God more than ever before in her whole life, and she felt like He wanted her to start giving back somehow. At the homeless shelter, House of Charity, a block away from our church, there's a Hispanic man who is a janitor. She said she always sees him with a smile on his face and a positive attitude, even when he's cleaning up feces that were spread all over the sinks and mirrors by some psycho nut job at the shelter. He always smiles and he stays positive. She was thinking about giving back when she saw him one day leaving a church service somewhere. He had his 7 kids in tow. Sunshine felt God say to her, "Now, him." So she gave him $50 that she had saved. That was a ton of money to her. She was beaming at me when she told me how she had felt when giving it away because God told her to do it. "It felt great," she exclaimed. The card she was handing me had a hand-drawn picture on the inside of a sun peeking over the horizon with a smiley face drawn on it and rays of light shooting off into the heavens. The note read, "Thanks. Can't express our thankfulness for this support you've shown us. Knowing you guys is a great blessing. It was the good of others not giving up on us that gave us the strength we so need. Thank you for setting a good example, for that is the true teachings of God." I couldn't help but think of Mark chapter 12, verses 41 through 44. Jesus sat down near the collection box in the temple and watched as the crowds dropped in their money. Many rich people put in large amounts. Then a poor widow came and dropped in 2 small coins. Jesus called his disciples to him and he said, "I tell you the truth, this poor widow has given more than all the others who are making contributions. For they gave a tiny part of their surplus, but she, poor as she is, has given everything she had to live on." New International Version. Painter's plastic and dog food saved her life and kept her off drugs. I thought, wow, who would have guessed? Sometimes it's the small things. One day, a guy we called Cowboy Mike came shuffling into church in a timid manner more than I'd ever seen him. Cowboy Mike was around 60 and had been a dentist in his former life. I guess he went through a bitter divorce and the wife took most of everything. In the end, he found himself working for her alimony and to keep the business going. I don't know if he started drinking before or after that, but in the end, he just walked away from it all and became a homeless vagabond. He had enough money in the bank that he could periodically fly himself to places like Texas and enter rodeos as a bull rider. I think he had a not-so-secret death wish. He would brag that he was always the oldest bull rider at every rodeo he entered. He was a man's man. Walking in timid was not his usual style. With his head down and glancing up in quick, furtive looks, he waved me over to him in quick motions. "I hope it's okay," he whispered to me, "but I had to tell you in advance that I had to have a couple of beers today to work up the courage to come to church. Is that okay?" On the inside, I felt like saying, "I know the feeling." But instead I asked, "Are you going to be okay? You'll be well behaved today?" Oh yeah, he assured me. I'll be good." With that, he shuffled up to the front row and sat all through church with a look of wondrous awe. Afterward, he told me it was the first time in 30 years he'd been to a church service. He was misty-eyed as he promised to keep coming back. He came for a while, and a few weeks later I never saw or heard from him again. I asked around, but no one knew whatever happened to Cowboy Mike. I heard someone say that they thought he got a job washing dishes at the local men's shelter last time they saw him. Maybe the rodeo finally got him. I like to think that the small things we did with dinner and conversation and those few church services had an impact on his life and his choices. One of the hardest things about downtown urban ministry is that the small tasks completed often add up and help move people toward a changed life. When that happens, one of the first things they do is get out of downtown and the old life. Never seeing someone again can either mean we were very successful or that we lost one. We often never know which it really is. All we have left are the small things we did or said that mattered in the right moment and the trust that Jesus has people in his care, not ours.